welcome to another episode of the Planeswalkers Pub. I'm your host, Aaron.
I'm Eric.
Howdy, it's RJ. Today, we have a couple different topics. But first, let's talk about our signature card.
Yes, every episode of the Planeswalkers Pub will feature a signature card that may or may not relate to the episode's topic.
Today's signature card is Scrambleverse. Scrambleverse is a 6 and 2 red sorcery that states, for each non-land permanent, choose a player at random. Then, each player gains control of each permanent for which he or she has chosen. Untap those permanents. Sometimes a little chaos is in order.
So this card is
Flavorful.
It's very,
for the
very
episode.
flavorful.
Yeah. So what decks can or should this go into? My opinion is no decks. Because I dislike chaos cards completely.
I don't know, man. Like, I like the card. It's chaotic. It's its purpose. My theory is maybe put into like a group hug deck just to shake things up, because it's kind of what.
A die roller deck?
Is there? Are
A
there? I know
group
there's.
hug deck?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Because
Well, you want to give your opponents resources
and value
card
everything
draw,
in that sense.
extra mana.
Which is the reason why. Think about it this way, like, because a group hug, like, you've got, like, Howling Mine, Temple Bell, and, like, the green spell that lets you drop
Right,
extra
the
lands.
flourishing.
There you go. Think about that. It's like, let's say turn 12 or whatever, no one's actually won at this point, but everyone's got a crap ton of stuff on the board. You then play this, just shakes up the entire board. All the stuff you just piled out and drove and just went crazy with, you're just taking all their best stuff potentially.
I was kind of,
Yeah,
I read it again.
but
It says non-land.
it scrambles all the non-land permanents on board, so people are left with a mishmash of stuff that they probably can't do anything with.
That's
and
the
you
point.
can't do anything with it either,
That's
because
true.
it randomizes the stuff you get too.
Yeah, but think about it this way. Like, Howling Mine's a universal effect. The blue
Yes.
one that basically says everyone draws a card is a universal
Dictative
effect.
prefix.
Yeah, that's all. Those are all
Solemnity.
universal. What does Solemnity do?
The
That's
Solemnity is a universal effect, but that wouldn't be used in group hug decks.
Well, I'm not saying for group hug. I'm saying just in a good chaosy kind of like trying to get benefit out of this card is either running a bunch of cards that affect the whole board or stuff that might be detrimental. I know there's the something Dijin that says at the beginning of your upkeep lose 2 life.
Or like Liliana's contract thing that at the end, like, you use 1 tick for each one, then like you switch it around.
Oh
yeah, you can run a whole deck with just those. Where just like there's a downside to it, whereas like
Ones where it's just you lose.
And then
Yeah.
you just switcheroo them to someone else and
Basically.
make the detriment on them.
yeah.
That's interesting, but this, again, is too random for that kind of effect.
Yeah, it's too random, and there's a possible chance you'll get it back, but there's also a very good. I mean, think about it. If there's like a 4-player game or whatever, there's a 1 in 4 chance you're going to get this back. It's 25%. I will bet on that.
Yeah. But EDH games already take an hour or so longer as it is. This will make them take even longer, which is why chaos effects are frowned upon in EDH. Although, if you were to include this in a deck,
You wouldn't.
Rakdos the Showstopper would probably be one of the best ones because of his coin flip randomness.
So when that Scrambleverse happens, you don't get ETB triggers, correct?
No, because
No.
everything's still on the board.
Damn! I was gonna say Phage the Untouchable.
Oh, the one that when NTBs, if it wasn't cast,
You lose.
you lose the game.
If it wasn't cast
the-
from your hand.
Well,
you
what's
lose.
her colors?
She's black.
Oh, it's just
So you'd
mono
have
black,
to
okay.
use Rakdos if you, or at least a deck included Rakdos colors if you wanted to try and use
I'm
that combo.
thinking like
That's
a-
not even a combo because it doesn't even work.
It doesn't. Like a Mardu Chaos deck. If there is a Mardu commander in Chaos. A white, black, and red deck. Because I think white has some interesting things that would go good with
I think
Scrambleverse.
red is the sole proprietor of Chaos Effects, so
Well, what about
red mixed with anything could be turned into one.
Well, what about like Zedru or something, who actually wants to give his permanents away anyway? This would just work out so well. Just make sure Zedru either isn't on the battlefield or you can bounce it back really quickly because you're giving away your non-land permanents.
That
True.
seems kind of hard to balance because Zedru cares about the permanents your opponents have, and this randomizes the amount of all permanents on board. So you could get back the permanents you've already given to other people.
Yeah, because it's not like you're going to cast this card on turn 3 or 4. It's an 8-mana spell.
So, for those who actually don't know, Zedru the Great-Hearted, she is 1 red, white, and blue for a legendary monk. She's a 2/4. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain X life and draw X cards, where X is the number of permanents you own that your opponents control. And then you can pay red, white, and blue. Target opponent gains control of target permanent you control. control. So like I said, if you actually just either bounce this back or something to make sure it doesn't get chaos, you then use this. It doesn't matter where your permanents go, as long as you don't own them, you're getting like 12 life, drawing 12 cards.
Maybe.
It can work.
I don't really see a practical use for Scrambleverse, but it's a chaos card and they're not supposed to be practical.
So today we're going to be talking about a few different topics that we think wouldn't make full episodes, but we want to talk about them anyway.
Down in the description will be the time codes if you want to skip to a particular section. Or watch the whole episode. That works too.
So our first topic that we're going to talk about is having food and drinks on the actual play table itself.
What, you don't want me to play with my Cheeto dust hands?
Well, this topic was actually brought up from Chris from our actual local game store. And it does happen where you don't really think about it. Just have like a soda like next to your stuff, whatever. Like, oh, the cap's on, who cares? But it could seriously damage some cards.
Story time! I have my Lord Wingwraith's deck. We've talked about it before. About $830 worth of cardboard. I double sleeve, thank God. But I was at a friend's place, enjoying a good time, drinking, playing Magic, when someone, probably me, taps into the beer I had while it was on the table next to my $830 Commander deck. And now the entire deck smells like summer shandy. And I haven't bothered to change the sleeves yet, so it just kind of smells like beer. The cards are fine. I checked them. They all are pristine. The double sleeving saved them. But they smell like beer. And I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that obviously we're all human for the most part. And like food's a thing. Obviously, like, you know, the command games can take a long while, and you might get thirsty or might get hungry or whatever. We don't recommend having food or drinks because, like RJ said, you can just spill it accidentally on stuff. Even if you don't have an $800 deck, even if you just have a burger, just like it's $50 or whatever, or just like a bunch of just junk you just put together from your box.
It's still $50 worth of paper.
Yeah, like it's one of those things that you want to be careful with that and not have that stuff around it. And yes, no Cheetos hands, thank you.
Yes.
Not on my cards.
Although,
please.
regardless of the actual value of the cards, it's still your property or someone else's property. And most people don't want to damage their own or others' property.
Yeah.
So, whether it's a deck made from the commander quarters $25 or CEDH worth thousands of dollars, you generally don't want food or drink around it.
Yeah, or even just talk to your play group and just the people at the table or whatever, be like, hey, you know, because we've actually done it too. We would go to Chinese or whatever and just like, all right, I'm going to set up this game this way I can just eat on my own little section. This way it doesn't go anywhere near your stuff. Or if we're all just agreeing, like, okay, well, let's just take a break just to eat something, and then we'll get back to the game. I don't mind it as much, but I know other people would. If you're just like, okay, I'm going to eat, like, you know, like, pizza or something in that sense. And then, like, right after done the pizza or whatever, I'm just going to go and, like, hey, what's that card do? And reach over and touch your card.
Oh, yes.
So Eric gives me this face because he's just like, I don't want you doing that because that's just weird. Me, I don't mind as much. I don't know why. I just don't, because I'm like, okay, it's in the sleeve, who cares?
Yeah, side tangent. People need to ask to touch other people's cards.
I do every time.
Yeah.
Y'all are probably tired of me hearing. I'm like, oh wait, just a second. Can I look at this? And they're like, oh yeah, go ahead. And
I
look at it.
Don't, and I probably should start.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just automatically just like, what does that do? And just instantly start reaching. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like
you
because
got
like,
grabby hands because
I feel like I don't know, because like we're friends. It's.
I know. I mean,
in theory,
if it's
yes.
friends, it's fine. But if I'm sitting down with someone I've never talked to before, I want to respect them. I even do it when I'm trading. Like, I'll be flipping through a trade binder and be like, hey, may I remove this? Because some people don't like to have their cards moved until the trade is complete. So they'll be like, just tell me, like, the name of it. I'll be like, okay.
But that's with trades, which we'll talk about later. Moving on to our next topic, which actually goes directly into this, buying a playmat. So I'm actually going to go on a small tangent, a tiny tangent. This is my personal opinion, but if you're playing Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, either Singleton or Commander or whatever, you should get a playmat. I believe that everyone should actually buy, or at the very least own, or even use a playmat. There's nothing wrong with not having a playmat. I understand that it doesn't make sense to buy, like, you know, spend $15 to protect the pieces of plastic that you spent $10 to protect the piece of cardboard that you're using for your deck. That makes no logical sense in the grand scheme of things, I know, but it's more convenient. How many times has this happened to you guys where You're like, oh, what does that card do? You go over, you're like, hey, can I see it? Like, yeah, sure. You go over to try to pick it up, and you're like, with the table in their sleeve, it doesn't actually pick up, so you're like fumbling for like 10 seconds to pick up the card.
I've seen that a couple times. There's also the fact that I've seen our local game store, wipe down the tables, but that happens at the end of the night.
Yeah.
And by the time we arrive, store has already been open for several hours.
Yeah.
So who knows what people have done. Going back to our previous topic, how do you know if someone didn't have the Cheeto dust on there and the store owners just haven't gone around to wiping it?
Or even still, like, how do you know that someone hasn't actually eaten their Chinese or whatever there, and then they played on a different table? Our game store has, what, like 12? That's a lot. Yeah, about like 12 tables or so. And we've even done that where we'll like eat at a table or put all of our stuff on one table and then we'll play on a different table. It's one of those things that it just happens. Having a playmat just basically protects your cards and guarantees it. Plus, the more practical use of it isn't really why I prefer playmats. I also prefer playmats just because it shows your personality right from the gates. Eric has this really just like Donald Trump playmat, which I will find the meme hopefully and put it on the screen, that it's just a funny playmat that I personally enjoy. It's entertaining to see because it's something specifically with America that's funny to us.
It says make magic great again.
Exactly, with just Trump. It's hilarious.
I'm not a Trump supporter, by the way. I just like the joke.
I have Nahiri, just because I personally like Nahiri. In the beginning of all of our episodes, you actually see the Nahiri actually kind of background. That's the playmat that I have. Recently, RJ bought me the Inge Falcon Wrath playmat, even though I specifically told him not to. He did anyway.
He didn't tell me not to. He said he wasn't going to buy it. So
because I didn't need it. I had a playmat. I don't need another one.
The probably more practical use of the playmat is to clearly define your boundaries and your battlefield. So you'll know where your artifacts, enchantments, commander, creatures, and land all are.
Having a playmat is actually really, really good just because it shows your personality, which is kind of nice. I do want to give a small shout out and / warning. There are a lot of not appropriate playmats.
The waifu mats.
The waifu mats, which some of them are fine, some of them are tasteful, others are not.
Oh, you don't want to see me whip out my Ahego playmat?
Well, no, there's a bunch of ones that... How am I going to do this? So there's a bunch of different playmats.
That are straight up hentai.
I'm going to show them on screen, but blurring out a lot of it, because I don't want to see
demonetized. He's just going to put up... Oh, wait a minute. If we're getting demonetized, we're monetized?
Well, the point is, what she's like, that there are certain playmats, I know you want to show, like, okay, well, this is a cool anime that I like or something in that sense, but be tasteful because there are still children floating about, the area and stuff in that sense. We don't want, no. One quick tangent, or one quick topic that RJ is going to bring up is...
This is probably something that could be a whole nother topic, and we'll probably cut this out and mention it later, but we're going to mention this. Swearing like a sailor in the middle of your LGS. Because how often do you see kids just in the LGS? Because, we're playing a card game.
For children. A children's card game, if you will.
Card game. And there are children around, and my co-players are swearing like sailors.
Who are we?
Co-players. You're my co-players.
We're co-players now.
Yes,
that's news to me.
And you swear like sailors. I'm like, there's children here, and you don't stop swearing.
This is a public space, so kind of the same principle of having your playmats not being M-rated or R-rated if you're only watching movies and never like to play a video game in your life. I know that this game we kind of get heated. We also just lose focus of what's around us because I don't know about you guys, but me personally, I don't focus on what's going on the rest of everyone else's table because I'm too busy focused on what's going on our table.
That's because I have anxiety.
Well, there's that too. But I'll also just forget that we're in a public space and not in someone's living room. And you kind of want to keep that in mind. And since we're talking about the actual card shop as a whole, let's just switch over to our next topic, which is going to be, so what were our first times at the card shop like? Wait, so you've been going to AU for years?
Yes, since
So
middle
do you remember
school,
your
seventh.
first...
Yeah. I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in those days, as
Me
everyone
too!
does. Me and my friends had been playing for a while at the middle school during lunchtime, and we found out about the AU. I don't know how we found out, since that was before you could just Google it.
Yeah.
But yeah, one day we just got our parents to drive us there. As they said, the rest is history.
Nice. My first time at the card shop actually came on the wrong day, which is hilarious. I came on like a Monday.
Oh God, that was.
I know.
That's
It must have been like nothing.
It wasn't, but it's also, I kind of went in there originally just to confirm that this was actually a card shop that actually come and play and everything else. I talked to one of the guys. Wasn't Justin. It's probably one of it was probably Packmaster or something like that.
Packmaster doesn't work Mondays. He works I think Friday. He works like the weekend, like Friday through Sunday.
In that case, I don't know who I talked to, but I basically just asked. I was like, hey, like, is this kind of where people play and everything else? And he said, yeah, like, everyone comes on Tuesday. Walked in on Tuesday, ran into RJ and Katie, who were just kind of sitting there by themselves, and I was like, they look like they might play Commander. And then you do that weird awkward dance where you're just like, you sit down for a second, you're just like, hey, do you guys play Magic? They're like, yeah. I'm like, cool, so standard. Oh, we play Commander. Good.
The best format.
Yeah, no,
The best format.
I was, I'm a weird, anxious person. I don't feel awkward ever.
No. Really? We did not understand that at all from the past,
I don't feel awkward.
podcasts.
I don't have the ability to feel awkward.
Which is good, because I only feel awkward after.
So he sat down with me. I'm like, yeah, let's play some card games. Like,
Am I the only normal one in this
I
podcast?
think he might be.
Define normal. So then your first time in AU was...
Probably maybe once before, maybe the same day that you went.
That is funny.
Yeah, it was, I went there with my sister.
Who had a car, who could drive.
Yes, who doesn't have her own car, family car, but she could drive. She drove us there. She didn't have a deck at that point, or did she have Saheeli?
Because she's always had Saheeli in my eyes. So yeah, she's...
Yeah, okay, so
has
she
Saheeli.
did. So, before I came to AU, I went to Redcap's Corner in the city. That's where I bought my Lord Windgrace Precon. That's where I got a copy of Doubling Season. I played there once and never went again because my father hated driving me there. But I ended up in AU and I met Aaron and other people and just played cards with people there, and it was great.
It's really great, but it also goes into our next segment, which is how to start a playgroup. We've mentioned a few times, like, just like, oh, my playgroup is this, my playgroup is that, but there's also a serious question of, well, how do you start one? Basically, it's kind of like that. You just walk in. It's kind of like how your mom said whenever you would go to high school or whatever, or like just school in general. It's like, oh, just like, go up there and say hi, and my name is this, can you be friends? That's basically how you start a playgroup.
Yeah, but you gotta learn who's a regular and who isn't. I mean, there are plenty of people that I've sat down with at AU to play a game with and have never seen again. It was just, they were just there for 1 week and then never again.
I feel like the other way of kind of just starting a playgroup is, like you said, seeing who's actually a regular there. Even just asking around to just, like, the people that work there.
Yeah.
Hey, like, I'm new in town or whatever, play Commander. Or even if, like, I play Modern. Because there's actually this, I think we played with him. The guy and his kid, who they mostly just play Modern or whatever, but they have a Commander deck. Just asking the people that work there. Because obviously they work there. There's a decent chance they're going to know a bunch of people. Just kind of going in, and although most people will deny this, I feel like everyone has some sense of anxiety or they're scared, I guess, to kind of just venture out and say, like,
Kind of comes with the territory of being a nerd.
like, we might say, oh, well, we're only going to play Magic, but you walk into a card shop, they only play Yu-Gi-Oh! That is probably the worst feeling in the world, because you're just like, great. And actually, that's kind of how I felt a little bit when I first walked in, because I always saw much Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, because I walked in on Yu-Gi-Oh! Day. So I asked him, and he was like, oh, no, Magic's on this day. Little do I know, Magic's every day. We just all congregate on specific days.
Yeah. Magic can be whatever day you want it to be. I think I've literally been at AU every day, not like every day in a row, but like every day of the week at some time or another and played a game that wasn't the specific game for that day.
Yeah, but starting a playgroup, it's going to be kind of hard. Obviously, asking around your friends is probably easiest way of doing it. Just be like, hey, like, even people that don't play Magic isn't that hard to get people to understand. Mastering it is a whole different story. Remembering all the triggers and knowing, like, when I can do things versus when I can't, that's complicated.
I'm still barely at that point.
Exactly, but just understanding the basic core of the game isn't that hard. So teaching people could be good to actually learn that. Or even if you can't get to one, in Delaware, our closest card shop was 45 minutes away. So getting a bunch of your friends together and saying, hey, I'm going to teach you all how to play Magic today. Just something like that, because you guys are going to hang out together anyway, so why not just teach them how to play Magic? Either buying them all the precons for Commander, or just buying a bunch of just intro decks or something. Yes, you're thinking of, why am I spending money when they should technically do it, but it's a lot easier for someone to pick up on a game if they don't have to do any extra work.
Another thing, local game stores are local. There are probably people that live within 5 minutes to 40 minutes from it. And in that radius, you can probably find people within 5 to 40 minutes of you. I mean, me, Aaron, and RJ all live within 10 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
And from that point, it's like 15 minutes to the card shop.
Another thing is, when you're actually at the card shop itself, if you're playing a game with 4 people or something like that, mention to them either at the beginning of the game or at the end of the game or something like that, hey, I'm new in town, I'm trying to get a play group started. Just say, how often are you guys here? Are you guys here normally every Tuesday? Are you guys here every Wednesday or whatever? Bring it up like that. If you can designate, okay, well, we're going to get together on Tuesdays or whatever. And then if you go back next Tuesday and none of your friends are there, find someone else. The cool thing about Commander is it's a multiplayer format. Typically, most people like to play in a 4-man group, but me personally, the 6-man groups we play in, I actually love those.
I don't mind 6-man. I kind of just like the odd numbers though. Like if it's 5, I'm like,
Well, here's the thing. I also came from a playgroup. We played 7 people all the time. So a bigger group is fine with me because I'm just like, that means that's more.
Was that like a 4-hour game?
Yes, it was. It was great. When there's more people, I become so less of a threat. It's great.
I'm a guy who loves playing Civilization, so long drawn out games.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
Our next subject is something that Rob actually brought up. Hi, Rob. You probably have not gotten to this point of the episode because you usually stop around 20 minutes in. It is trading. This is why I put it in the last portion. It's trading versus buying cards. So a lot of people actually forget that this game is a trading card game.
Novel concept.
I know, right? Crazy. But too often, especially with the internet, we all know about card gaming. We all know about TCG. Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag totally could be sponsored. It's too easy for us to just straight buy the cards that we need as opposed to actually going and trading them. Eric is kind of a proponent of this where he just buys cards because he doesn't...
It's not like I'm against trading. It's that a lot of the times people don't bring their trade binders.
Yes.
So many times I've gone to AU and been like, hey, do you have trades? And I've gotten no. Or they're at home.
Well, here's the thing. I am also one of those... I'm on the side of just buying cards typically, but I do like the theory of trading as well because buying cards costs money. Or I could just take the cards I currently own, trade them to someone else who doesn't, and then I can get that same card. Plus, it opens up your mind a little bit to just the cards that you haven't seen before. I've only been playing Magic for 2 years now. Eric's been playing for maybe about 10 or so. Arjun's been playing for 5-ish. Versus someone like Rob, who's been playing basically longer than we've been alive. That's a lie because the game didn't come out before. It doesn't matter. Who might have cards that are old that we haven't actually seen before. Or even just cards that you wouldn't think about putting in. Plus, with the trading, you can always just ask the other person, and they'll be like, okay, well, what are you looking for? I'm looking for a Ghostly Prison type effect.
Black Lotus.
Not Black Lotus. I'm looking for a Ghostly Prison type effect. What else do you have? Well, I don't have Ghostly Prison, but I do have Norn's Annex. I do have Propaganda. I do have this. So it opens your mind to just, as opposed to just getting that one card. The cool thing about trading is the fact that the value for the card, it doesn't go up by you buying it from someone else. Yeah. If that makes sense. It never actually touches the market at all, so the price stays the same.
It also gives you value when you may not otherwise have it. If you have $5 in your wallet, but $50 in trade binder, you can turn that $50 of trade into another $50 worth of cards.
Yes. And as much as we love AU, they are a business and they're not going to give you the full price for the trade.
Oh, hell no.
If they're going to sell it for $50, they're only going to trade in for maybe 25. And it's one thing that you can't blame them for it, but it's also because they're a business. They have to understand what they have to make money. They can't make an even trade. Versus trading cards, you can make basically even trade.
With other people, yeah.
With other people.
That's also kind of why WotC can't recognize the secondary market.
Yeah.
Is because a lot of local game stores would lose a lot of money because of the inherent value of the card.
For WotC, it costs the exact same amount of money to print a Black Lotus as it does a basic land, because they're all cardboard. They don't care what the printing is.
And it's not even the player economy that they have to worry about. It's real life economy, people's actual jobs could go under if local game stores' stock just plummeted in value.
But trading's really nice. Plus, I think Rob uses the TCG app that actually shows you physical dollar amount for the cards. One thing that I do want to mention while trading is what I used to do as a kid. I just traded a card for a card without actually checking pricing. Because I was like, okay, well, I need these 3 cards. You need those 3 cards. Let's just swap. I don't know. I was a kid. I didn't freaking know.
Sometimes you still trade that way. We'll do 1-for-1 changes.
Yeah. My theory is this, this is a card that's just sitting in my binder. It's been in my binder for, let's say, maybe 3 months or whatever. I'm not going to use it. I'm never going to use it. Although I'm really regretting giving away all my red cards now, but that's whatever. Using the TCG app, because prices of things do matter. Because if someone were to then trade it to someone else, and the other person would worry about the actual cost of it, that does matter. Also, too, getting an actual trade binder. or just a binder itself. Yes, they cost like $15, but it is better than just putting them into a box. No one wants to go through like a bag of cards.
I do. I just love going through boxes and bags of cards. So if you're like, I just have 1,000 box bulk, you probably don't want to go through that. Yes, I do. Give me it. I'll see you in an hour.
I mean, Cyclonic Rift, what is it right now? $20?
Something like that.
When it was printed and when I was playing, it was a $2 card for years.
Yeah.
And now, when Commander's getting bigger, it's now a $20 card.
That's another cool thing about trades as well, is that people, especially like Rob, you're going to be the example of this because you're the one I know that trades the most. He'll actually buy a bunch of cards. He actually did trade or play me a bunch of cards because I'm just like, that card's junk. He's like, yeah, but it's going to go up in value. So I'm like, okay.
That's actually one of the things I hate. I do not like the MTG finance side of this game at all. Using the card game as a form of stocks, holding cards in the attempt that they might go up in value, and then capitalizing off that feels really dirty and slimy to me.
I'm fine with it because it's a gamble. Like, unlike insider trading, whatever, where it's like this is going to happen, we know it's going to happen because we're making it happen. With stuff like that, like Spark Double. He's a decent card. I think it's like $1 or so now. He is a valuable card that I know will go up in price because of his effect. You just print a Planeswalker or another creature that's something crazy, he's going to go nuclear.
Yeah.
And which means his price is going to go up. I'm fine with kind of hoarding stuff like that because right this second, it is a useless piece of cardboard.
I want a Spark Double in my Dragon deck because it can turn into a copy of the Ur Dragon.
Yeah, it's a good card.
It is a good card.
I'm fine with instead trading with that sense because it's a good card that you can still use. That if someone legit needs it, they can just do it. I'm not fine with someone having like 4 copies of something and then not trading it because they want to keep the set. That I'm not okay with.
Wait, you're not okay with people keeping play sets?
Smothering Tithe
Yes.
was...
Especially if you only play Commander, that's your format. You only play Commander and you're keeping a playset of something because you want the playset, that I'm not okay with.
Smothering Tithe was an example that I profited on. Because on release, and for like a week or two after, Smothering Tithe was like a $2 card.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then it spiked to like 10 or more. I think it's still hovering around 10.
Yeah, because Commander players are like, wait, this is really good.
This is like really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's
This is
literally
white
Ristic
Ristic
Study.
Study.
Yeah, people were like, okay, well, this just gives you, like, treasures. Who cares? I can use treasures. But it's like, you have to think about the Commander format. That's a lot of treasures, and that's too many. People are not going to pay that. Like,
I don't know how many times Commander affects the standard card pool, but that's definitely one of the times.
well, Standard affects us.
Well, standard usually affects us the reverse. If cards are valuable in standard, as soon as they rotate out, they lose value.
Yeah, which is why, and this is a small, I guess, warning / heads up. Watch when Standard going to rotate and note what you want to grab. Because as soon as it rotates, give it like basically a week / 3 days, those prices are going to plummet basically down to nothing, and then they'll slowly rise back up.
Speaking of prices, Hogak was recently banned in Modern. So it dropped from like a $15 card to like a $4 one.
As well as Faithless Looting, so I might actually pick it up now.
Yeah, even though Faithless Looting wasn't really all that expensive in the first place,
It's
but
like $1 something.
I bought a copy for like 50 cents, and then all of a sudden it was like $2. I'm like, oh, that's okay.
It's a good card, that's why. But hey, it's banned in Modern. I guess this goes over to our last segment, since we're talking about this in Modern and Legacy and stuff like that. Why do we play Commander versus playing Standard or Modern or Legacy?
well, since we just got done talking about prices, let's bring them up again. People say Commander's expensive. These people have not played Modern or Legacy. Or
Comparatively,
even
it's
some
not
Standard. Like, in Standard, if you want to play any of the dual-color decks, you need to buy 4 copies of like a $15 Shockland.
Yeah.
That's $60 for 4 lands. Not even the rest of the deck.
Which are going to rotate out
Yes.
as well.
So you're going to lose value on those cards. Well, not really, because if you go into Commander or Modern, you can kind of sell to those crowd. But insofar as your standard deck, it's lost value.
Yeah.
If not monetarily, playability.
I think all of us kind of started out in Standard in one shape or another. And I basically just stopped playing Standard because, well, A, I got really degenerate with my combos. But also, too, the rotation factor is just annoying because I've got to pay X amount of money, typically over $100, typically over $200, to actually get this perfect amazing deck who wins every single turn or whatever. And then I'm basically throwing away all of that money in like 3 to 4 months. That's
It's
super not good.
No. But when you play EDH, which is an eternal format, you have those cards forever. And unless they're reprinted, which WotC kind of has a love-hate relationship with, your deck is generally going to hold its value. So you can either sell to other people or sell to game stores.
Why do I play Commander? Because when I first started playing, when I picked up Magic again, the group that I was playing with was at the college, and all of them played Commander. I had a Modern deck because I didn't realize what Standard was and what Rotation was.
So it inadvertently became a Modern deck.
Yeah, a Modern deck.
Everything becomes a Modern deck sooner or later.
Yeah. So I had a Modern deck from Khans of Tarkir. As a Modern deck, it was horrible. But they all played Commander. So I'm like, okay, I picked up a Commander pre-con. I picked up Lord Windgrace, and then I upgraded him. And then
spilled beer on him.
And then spilled beer on him. Shut up. He smells like summer shandy.
The Life of Windgrace by RJ.
He might be taken apart soon. I don't know yet.
Another reason I like is the stuff you can do, the crazy stuff you can do in Commander. Not crazy as in chaos. Crazy as in
even though chaos
outlandish. Stuff you couldn't get away with in Standard. Outside of staples like Rhystic Study or Cyclonic Rift. Soul Ring. You can craft some pretty impressive decks in Commander that wouldn't fly anywhere else.
Like Chandra Tribal. Which is a cool deck. It's a cool deck. Like, that's the reason why I play Commander 2, because it's not about what the cards are, it's about what your theme is currently doing and what your deck is currently doing. Like, your commander really deciphers, this is what my deck wants to do. But I also like taking a commander that people will think, oh, it's going to do this. Like, I bring up Saheeli all the time because it's a perfect example. Even in the pre-con, it was basically about creating lots of tokens and swarming the board. And then RJ's like, or, now follow me on this journey, Eldrazi's.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love, even though I know the secret, I love him just sitting down with that deck or someone who's never seen that secret and just watching their faces. They're just like, wait, what's... Oh,
it's turn 4.
They think he's just...
that's what's going on with this deck. Like, it's great. It's really, really cool. I do also like memorizing what happens. For instance, someone brings out a Zur deck. You're assuming in your head, okay, this is either going to go to Voltron or this is basically going to go just like stacks. So you basically ask them straight up, all right, this is Voltron or stacks. They're like, oh,
and they bring out Cycling Zur.
You're just like, cool, let's play a game. It's great. Some commanders, unfortunately, like Teysa, you really can't take in a different direction.
Yeah, that's...
without basically saying...
Wait!
Azori can be the green, mono green Azori can be nothing else but Elf Tribal.
But then the one with the experience counters
you can kind
of go either way.
Yeah, you can play around with the Simic pool of
or even just doing a theme like Eric did. It was like, hey, this is going to be Chandra Tribal. I took it apart basically. Maybe it's just like all female tribal, just female in the arts deck. I mainly play Commander because, like I said, I played a bunch of Standard, and Standard's a very quiet game. In the sense of everyone's kind of just playing their cards without actually really speaking to each other. It's just kind of like okay, this is this, this is that, this is this. It's also very boring. There's always a simple combo that you're going for every single time. That's how you win.
Yeah, I feel the meta in Standard gets solved really quickly.
Versus Commander, I've got my decks. Even if it doesn't matter what deck I'm playing, the politics is what makes a Commander game.
Yeah, that definitely makes it stand out from all other formats.
You could have the most powerful deck in the entire game and lose
to politics.
And it's great. I was playing with Avery and I think it was Luke against Rob. Well, we were all obviously...
You were all playing against Rob?
Here's the thing. It didn't start out like that. But I explained to the table, do my politic, you know how I do.
You did your bullshit.
I did my bullshit, and we all ganged up on Rob, even though I was the threat because I was playing my theft deck. I was the main threat. We ganged up on Rob because I explained that he's a more experienced player. He's got the stronger deck. Like, he's played Megas longer than us. Like,
you're a jerk, Aaron.
You are.
But that proves my point. The fact that even though you might have the stronger deck, because of politics, you could still lose.
Yeah, that's true.
It's really hard for most people to convince 3 other people of a singular threat. I've convinced you a few times on stuff that you clearly shouldn't have agreed to.
Yeah.
But that's great because it shows a different side of you. Like, it's not just your deck that does the talking. You can fight for it. But that's the reason why we like Commander. That's the reason why I personally like Commander is because With Standard and Legacy and Modern or whatever, it's more or less about like, okay, what's your win-loss ratio? How good are you right now? Versus Commander, did we have fun? Yes. Cool. Like, do we have a cool story to tell about this? Yes. Awesome. Congratulations, you were a Commander player. Like, we don't care who won.
Yeah.
We don't.
That's why people dislike Infinites, because it's not a cool or fun way to win.
I-
That's also why CEDH is a different format entirely.
Yeah, I'm okay with infinite combos if you go infinite around like turn 6 or so. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Because at that point, that's fine. I've had to play my deck. There was a game I played where he went infinite like turn 2. I'm just like, why?
Scoop up, play again.
It's not. I scooped up play again, but I was very bitter because I'm just like, if you're gonna do that, don't.
Alright, talk about the Savala guy.
No, not him. There's a different game with Justin and his
Oh, okay.
friends.
Oh, wait, do we have to call it Justin's Dirty Boys?
Justin's Dirty Boys.
Justin's Dirty Boys.
Or
We've been instructed to refer to Justin's crew as Justin's Dirty Boys.
so let's go ahead and switch off to our favorite segment, which is going to be Last Call.
Last Call.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
So final thoughts, and a question to the people at home listening is, tell us your thoughts on this actual style of episode. I know we kind of just were sporadic and just mentioning a bunch of different stuff, but these didn't seem like a full episode length topics, which is kind of why we did it.
I actually don't think it was that sporadic. I think we flowed pretty well into each topic.
Yeah. Plus, I kind of like this because bouncing around is kind of nice. We don't have to just really talk about one thing, like,
Yeah.
Commander 19 again.
And we didn't really talk about the game itself. We talked about all the things surrounding the game, like the environment.
Because Magic is simple. Magic's like
Yeah, I
driving.
know.
It's simple. It's parking. It's hard.
I've never driven before.
And honestly, I don't think I've seen or heard of a podcast talk about these kind of subjects.
Yeah, which is kind of nice. Side note, since we're actually in Last Call, I can also totally mention the fact that we're at 50 subscribers, which is dope.
There's 50 of you? What?
Woo! I'm not gonna lie. I kind of thought like 30 was gonna be our max.
Alright, which one of you went on Google and made a whole bunch of
Just bots.
accounts just to subscribe?
I bought all of these.
Thank you guys so much. We're really just happy about it. That's great. We love you all. Regardless if you subbed from the beginning
Except
or
for you,
just
Timmy.
recently subbed. There might be a Timmy who actually subscribed. We'll see.
Unsubscribe, Timmy. We don't want you here.
Timmy Power Gamer.
Timmy Power Gamer. We don't like Timmy Power Gamer.
There's like Timmy, Spike, and
Timmy Spike and Johnny.
Johnny. Yeah, which actually could be a really cool episode to talk about next.
Yes.
Because I personally know all of them, and I know we can categorize. I feel like we're each one of them, so yeah, it works out.
I've never heard about that before, so y'all can teach me.
Which
that.
one am I?
We will answer that question in the next episode.
Yep.
But until then, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Planeswalkers Pub, and make sure to subscribe for new episodes every week.
Also, make sure to hit that like button and share the episode. Let people know that we're here.
Laters, guys.